Welcome to another Genshin Interact video. My name is Rift, and today I'm joined by Vixen. Let us know down in the comments if this guide was helpful or if you have any other tips about the character. As always, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for future content. Thank you for watching. Now, on to the video.
The long-awaited Alhaitham banner just dropped. The scribe and now acting Grand Sage takes to the battlefield with extreme strength as our first real Dendro DPS. First, let's take a look at his 3 talents and the priority of leveling them. Alhaitham has a very interesting and somewhat complicated kit, but once you get the hang of it, it's really quite simple. Alhaitham's main source of damage is his skill. The skill has 2 versions. Tapping the skill will dash Alhaitham forward towards his enemies, and holding the skill can turn into an aim mode, much like Keqing and Nahida's skills. Unlike Keqing, after you release from holding the skill, you immediately teleport where the green marker is and gain a Dendro infusion on your normal, charged, and plunging attacks. The complicated part of Alhaitham's kit is rotations and understanding his Chiselite mirrors, which we'll talk about in teams. You can have a total of 3 mirrors at once. Alhaitham's skill will immediately generate 1 mirror when using it. And if there are mirrors on Alhaitham, you will gain another mirror for a max of 2 mirrors from 0. When you hit opponents with mirrors on Alhaitham, AoE Dendro projection attacks will hit opponents as well. The mirrors will disappear 1 at a time every 4 seconds. All mirrors will disappear once Alhaitham leaves the field. 1 mirror will make a projection attack based on attack and elemental mastery. This is why Alhaitham's elemental mastery usually needs to be higher than most characters. Alhaitham's normal attack is his second talent in the priority list. My Alhaitham has level 7 normal attack because I only need more Scaramouche weekly boss material, but you should farm and focus on normal attacks over burst. Third priority is his burst talent. Alhaitham's burst sets a mirror-filled field that does multiple instances of AoE Dendro damage. If Alhaitham has any mirrors, they will be consumed and will increase the amount of his hits inside the mirror field. After 2 seconds of using his burst, if no mirrors are consumed, Alhaitham will generate 3 new mirrors. If 1 mirror is consumed in his burst, 2 will be given. If 2 mirrors are consumed, 1 mirror is given. If 3 mirrors are consumed, no mirrors are given. Alhaitham is a great character and seems to be the strongest and technically only Dendro DPS we have, so using crowns on him is heavily recommended but not necessary. If you are looking to use 1 crown, crown his skill. If you are looking to use 2 crowns, crown his skill and his normal attack talent. He can be triple crowned due to the strength of his burst, but it is not necessary and can be a waste of a crown, but it is not a bad talent to level. Alhaitham can work just fine with all talents at level 9 and even level 8.
Unlike Alhaitham's talents, his passive talents are not that complex and are easy to understand. His first passive talent generates 1 mirror when he hits opponents with charged or plunging attacks, but this effect can only happen once every 12 seconds. His second passive talent increases damage of his projection attacks from his mirrors and his burst projection attacks by 0.1% for every point of elemental mastery. The maximum damage increase is 100%. A large part of every character's build is their artifact sets and stats. Although Alhaitham does not have a dedicated 4-piece set made for him like Zhao or Wanderer, there are some very solid options, but not technically an outright best set for him. That being said, Gilded Dreams seems to be the undisputed best set for him under certain situations. The 2-piece Gilded Dreams set will give Alhaitham 80 elemental mastery. The 4-piece set will buff the character wearing the set based on the elemental types of the other characters in the party within 8 seconds of making an elemental reaction. This 4-piece set will buff the character wearing the set based on the elemental types of the other characters in the party. Attack is increased by 14% for every character in the party that has the same element as the wearer of the gilded set. Elemental mastery will be increased by 50 for every character that has a different element as the wearer of the gilded set. The effect can only be triggered every 8 seconds but can be triggered off field. This set gives extra elemental mastery to Alhaitham, which he scales off of in the 2-piece and 4-piece set. You will usually be running an extra Dendro character with Alhaitham, which can boost your attack by 14% due to the 4-piece. Deepwood Memories is another set that can be very useful on Alhaitham. The 2-piece set gives him a 15% Dendro damage bonus. The 4-piece of this set decreases Dendro resistance by 30% for 8 seconds if you hit an opponent with your skill or burst. This effect can also be triggered off field. Although Gilded can be the best set for Alhaitham, the reason you can run Gilded on Alhaitham is because you will usually have someone else on the team running a 4-piece Deepwood Memories set. The great thing about Deepwood is that you can even run it on non-Dendro characters and still make its effect useful. The Dendro resistance effect on 4-piece Deepwood is what makes Dendro characters do a ton of damage. Alhaitham works best with the 4-piece Gilded Dreams set and another support using 4-piece Deepwood. If no one on your team will be using Deepwood, then Alhaitham should be running Deepwood for the maximum amount of damage. The only exception is if you have better main stats and substats on a Gilded set than a Deepwood set. If you cannot do either 4-piece sets, then running 2 of the following sets will be best: Gilded Dreams Wanderer's Troop, and Flower of Paradise Lost. Each of these 2-piece sets will increase Elemental Mastery by 80. You can also run one of the Elemental Mastery 2-piece sets with a 2-piece set of Emblem of Severed Fate, which will increase energy recharge by 20% if you are lacking there. Remember that at the end of the day, main stats and substats mean more than the best set you could put on him, but Alhaitham will benefit from the Gilded Dreams with a Deepwood support the best. Another part of artifact sets are main stats and substats. You should be going for an Elemental Mastery Sands, Dendro Damage Bonus Goblet, and a crit rate or crit damage circlet. If you are lacking on crit rate, then focus on getting a crit rate circlet and crit damage if you are lacking there. If you got Alhaitham's weapon, the insane amount of crit damage should be enough, and you should use a crit rate circlet. Next are the substats. Alhaitham needs crit rate, crit damage, elemental mastery, and some attack percent. Focus on both crits first as substats, then focus on elemental mastery, since his entire kit will be based off of it. Unlike most normal damage dealers, he will focus on elemental mastery over a higher attack percent. His burst has a cost of 70, so make sure to have a little bit of energy recharge in a battery to feed particles to Alhaitham so he can get his burst back. Remember that substats are more useful than a good artifact set most of the time.
After artifact sets and artifact stats, the next major part of a character's build is their weapon. Alhaitham has so many options for 5-star weapons and 4-star weapons. His best in slot will be his 5-star sword, Light of Foliar Incision. The main stat gives you an astounding 88.2% crit damage at level 90 and a base attack of 542, so make sure to grab a crit rate circlet. This sword's ability increases crit rate by 4% at Refinement 1. The effect that comes with the sword states that after normal attacks deal elemental damage, the Foliar Incision effect is obtained. This effect increases damage by 120% of elemental mastery to normal attacks and elemental skills. This effect will go away after 28 hits or 12 seconds have passed. This effect can be gained once every 12 seconds. The crit rate increase has nothing to do with this effect and will always increase your crit rate as long as the character has the weapon equipped. Another 5-star weapon that can work well on Alhaitham is Mist Splitter Reforged. The main stat gives 44.1% crit damage and a base attack of 674. The Refinement 1 abilities are as follows. You gain a 12% elemental damage bonus and the ability to stack this effect by normal attacking and using your burst. Due to the high base attack, it is best to focus on crit rate and feeding that crit damage for a good crit ratio. Another 5-star is Primordial Jade Cutter. At level 90, its main stat is 44.1% crit rate and a base attack of 542. The Refinement 1 abilities are as follows. Increases HP by 20% and an attack bonus based on 1.2% of max HP. There are some other 5-stars that could work, but these 3 are the best in my opinion. Alhaitham can also make use of the 4-star Battle Pass sword, the Black Sword. This weapon gives 27.6% crit rate at level 90 and a base attack of 510. The Refinement 1 abilities for this weapon are as follows. Increases normal and charged attack by 20% and regenerates 60% of attack as HP when normal and charged attacks crit. The regeneration effect can occur once every 5 seconds. Like the other Battle Pass weapons, I would recommend getting this weapon to Refinement 5 as soon as possible if you can get the Battle Pass consistently, because Black Sword can do insane amounts of damage with his normals and heal himself at the same time, which can take more pressure off of your healer. Unlike R5 Deathmatch, on a character like Zhao, I do not believe that R5 Black Sword is better than the other 5-star options previously stated. A 4-star option is Iron Sting, which is craftable, gives elemental mastery as a main stat, and increases damage when dealing elemental damage. Another 4-star option from a previous event is Tokubo Shigure, which also gives elemental mastery as a main stat and can deal more damage if attacks trigger a curse from the weapon. Alhaitham's 5-star Light of Foliar Incision will obviously be his best in slot weapon, but any of these weapons will strengthen your Alhaitham to do massive damage for your team.
Following weapons, we now look at Alhaitham's 6 constellations. His first constellation decreases the cooldown of his skill by 1.2 seconds when a projection attack hits an opponent. This effect can be triggered once every second and does not seem to have a cap. His second constellation increases elemental mastery by 50 for 8 seconds when you generate a Chiselite Mirror, and this effect can stack up to 4 times. This effect can even be triggered after the maximum number of 3 Chiselite Mirrors has been reached. His third and fifth constellations increases talent and burst level by 3, which can go over the original max level of 10. His fourth constellation increases other party members' elemental mastery by 30 for every mirror consumed and gives Alhaitham a 10% Dendro damage bonus for every mirror created. His sixth constellation gives him the following effects. After his burst is unleashed, he will generate 3 mirrors no matter how many were consumed, and if Alhaitham creates mirrors when he is at the maximum number, his crit rate is increased by 10% and crit damage by 70% for 6 seconds. This second effect cannot stack but will refresh the 6-second timer timer if he creates another mirror past the maximum number. This 6th constellation consistently allows him to have max mirrors on the field, and when you create more by charged attacking or using your skill, you get rewarded even more by increasing both crits insanely to maximize damage and kill everything in Alhaitham's path.
Alhaitham's constellations can help him push out damage, but surrounding him with good teammates can skyrocket his damage higher than it already is. It is best to run 2 Dendro characters on a Dendro-related team. Dendro characters like Nahida, Kale, Dendro Traveler, and Yao Yao are great at applying extra Dendro 4 reactions alongside Alhaitham. These supports can also use the 4-piece Deepwood memory set so that Alhaitham can run a 4-piece Gilded Dream set. The Elemental Resonance also gives more elemental mastery when triggering Dendro-related reactions. It's best to find a reaction to make your team do. One of the best teams for Alhaitham is a Quicken and Spread team, which uses both Dendro and Electro characters. Some Electro supports for Alhaitham include Yaimiko, who can constantly apply Electro off-field with her skills and do good amounts of damage, Kuki, who can heal with her skill and apply Electro, and Fishu, who can apply Electro off-field with her skill. Instead of using an extra Electro character, you can use a 4th flex spot as either Kazuha, who can swirl Electro and give more damage to the Electro character, or Zhongli, who can shield your characters and the Geo he will use will not affect the Dendro application. This flex spot can also be used as a spot for a Hydro character to make a Hyper Bloom team, which uses Dendro, Electro, and Hydro characters. Characters like Yelan, Xingqiu, and Kokomi will apply a good amount of Hydro off-field. Kokomi will be best if a healer is needed, while Yelan and Xingqiu will be best for Hydro application and damage. The team I will be using in the gameplay will be Alhaitham, Yaimiko, Kuki, and Yao Yao. Enjoy the gameplay. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any extra tips or tricks you know or use with your own Alhaitham, please go ahead and let us know in the comments. Thank you again, and we'll see you in the next one.